How's it going, guys? Welcome back to Movie Talk. So for this video, I want to do a new series. Well, basically at the end of every month, I would do a little recap of everything I've watched. It's pretty simple. Basically, I'm just going to go through each movie, give my rating, what I thought about it, and just how much I enjoyed it. But I don't really want to do a super long intro, so let's just get into it. So I started off this month with Deliverance. And you know what? I've never seen this movie before, but it was a really great thriller. I think it does take a while to get into the whole movie because it's way too long. It's just the first act is way too dragged out to the point where I kind of started getting bored. But once it got to that scene, if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But once it really starts getting into gear, it really starts going. It becomes this super fantastic thriller. I definitely highly recommend it. Next up, I watched Challenges, which, if it wasn't for the fact that Dune Part 2 came out this year, I'd honestly think this is the movie of the year. It is, so insanely good for, I didn't know what to go in, what to expect going into the movie, but, the longer it goes on, the more it just made me love it even more. And even thinking about it a month later, it is just such an insanely good movie. I also love just how complex of a movie it is. All the characters really do feel like good people. To where they aren't necessarily bad guys, they're not good guys. They make bad decisions and good decisions, and it's just it feels like I'm watching three lives, an actual thing to happen, just all intertwining. And you just get to experience everything that goes on. Because the movie starts out with you have no idea what's going on, and then you cut back to the past and you get a little hint of what's going on, and then you cut to the future, to the present, and that's when you get to have a little bit more context as to the scene. And throughout the entire movie, it's all based around one single tennis match, but as the match goes on, you learn more about the context or what happened before, and it just builds up so much. Going in, I thought it was just some other tennis match, and then you just see all the context going into it, and it just builds up more and more until the ending of the movie, which is such great. But definitely, if you can, find some way to watch this, because this is really one of the best movies of the year. And then I watched Fall Guy. Look, I get why it's super popular. I know I'm deeply in the unpopular opinion on this. It didn't work for me. I've seen that type of romance in the movie just so many times. Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt, their romance that they have together, I've seen 1,000 movies done it, and I've seen it done it way better. I just couldn't get into it. The whole movie felt like it was just trying to tell the Academy, hey, we should get a stunt category into the Oscars. That's the whole point of the movie, it felt like. Because, there was just, nothing. The mystery was, such a bland mystery. There was just, nothing to it. But I do also acknowledge I am deeply in the unpopular opinion on this. I mean, people are loving this. I'm really happy that people love it. It wasn't my thing. And then I watched 3 films by Don Hertzfeldt: The Meaning of Life, Billy's Balloon, and Rejected. And these films are free on YouTube, by the way. All his short films he posts on his channel. And I'm telling you, take 10 minutes out of your day to just watch one of his short films, because he is legitimately, I really do think, one of the greatest directors working today, and he's so underappreciated because of, okay, for example, Rejected. That's one of the greatest short films I've ever seen in my life. It's so hilarious and so absurd. And then you get to The Meaning of Life, which is so deep and profound and philosophical. And then you get to Billy's Balloon, which is, the whole thing is a red balloon beating up a little kid, and it's so dark. The more you watch it, but it's just seeing this balloon just absolutely beat up this little kid, and it's impossible to not laugh at. He's such a good filmmaker. But really, if you have any chance to watch any movie by him, I highly recommend it. I'm telling you, It's Such a Beautiful Day, that's my all-time favorite movie. I've never seen something more profound, and it's only 62 minutes. I'm just telling you, just watch anything made by him, because I promise you, it will be amazing. And then I watched Rope by Alfred Hitchcock, and I gotta tell you, it was just such a boring movie. I hate using the word boring, but it really was. It's a thriller without any thrills. There's nothing to it. really, at the end of the day, it was just a really dull thriller that, like, the only reason I even, like, enjoyed it a little bit was because of James Stewart. Because, like, I haven't seen a lot of his movies, but, like, from, like, the little I do see, like, he really is, like, one of the best actors to ever live. Like, he's the basically saved the ending of the movie. Like, he's the only reason I'd ended up giving it 2.5 stars. Because, like, it was such a dull thriller. And, like, I'm slowly finding out that, like, I'm not the biggest fan of Hitchcock. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of his movies, but, like, the movies I have seen, they're just eh. And then I watched Only God Forgives. And oh man. See, like, I really wanted to like it. I was trying so hard to like it, but like the longer it went on, the more I was checking like how much time I had left because I was just done with it. Like, there were some really good visuals. Don't get me wrong. Like, it was a feast for your eyes. Like, there were some really great shots in it, and it was really greatly directed. But like, I won't even tell. There's not even a single character that I found interesting. All of them were just like, okay, and like, why am I watching this movie? And the story was like just really weak. Like, I did not care for the story at all. Like, I was by the time it was over, I kind of had a smile on my face because like it was just such a dud of a movie. But then things picked up when I watched Wendy and Lucy, and it's really such like a simplistic and fun movie because the whole movie is about it's Wendy and Lucy. Who Lucy is her Wendy's dog, and she's in some town and she loses her dog. And the whole movie is just her trying to find a dog. And like it was a really short movie too. Like I don't even think it's 90 minutes, and it's a real quick, just like delightful movie. Like it's one of those things where like it it's a sad movie, but like also I can't help but just bring a smile to my face because there is Wendy and this security guard, this unnamed security guard. She has like such a genuine relationship with him that like it's one of those things that just like reminds me of like why we should have faith in humanity because there are good people out there, and it's a movie about good people just trying to do a good thing and find her dog. At the end of the day, like that's all the movie is, just her trying to find her dog. But I really do recommend watching it because like it's such a joyous film. And then I watched Godzilla vs. Megalon, which is it was a fine movie. Like I just tell you, I'm a massive fan of Godzilla. When I was a little kid, like that was the stuff. Like I was just the most biggest Godzilla fanatic ever. And now like I watch them now and like, they're not great movies. Like there really are serious flaws to them. But at the end of the day, like they're just the fun. The fun movies that like I can just sit around and enjoy. And that's really at the end of the day, that's all this is. Like this is the movie that introduced Jet Jaguar, which fun fact about that. So a while before the movie was made, there was a competition held in Japan of like kids could design their own kaiju, and if whoever won the contest, they got their kaiju in the movie. And so that's who Jet Jaguar is. This kid designed him. I mean, the kid designed him a lot more like crazy, like it was a lot more better designs around him, and they kind of simplified him in this movie, but it's just a fun movie. Like, have you ever seen the meme of Godzilla on his tail, like running down and sliding his tail into a monster? Like, this is from that movie. And it's just, this is the time in the Godzilla movies where, like, I think at the like all they were doing was just having fun. They were having fun making these movies, like having wild things happen. So if you're a Godzilla fan, I'm assuming you've already seen this one. This is actually one of the last Godzilla movies I haven't seen, but I highly recommend watching it because it is such a delight. And then I watched The Ides of March, which was this like really interesting political film about a guy George Clooney. He also directed the movie, but he plays this guy who's running for president, and Ryan Gosling basically plays his campaign manager, and it's like all about like the politics behind all this stuff. And like it's one of those like really interesting, like fast paced, like it's not a biography, but like it feels like it is. Like it feels like this was an actual thing that actually happened. But it was a really good movie. Like I definitely loved this one. And I really think like if you're in the mood of like watching a political film, like again, like it's not like a movie where, like it takes like one side or the other. Like the movie's saying that like both sides play it dirty, and that's the only way to make it in politics. But I really think this is a good one to watch, so I recommend it. And then I finally got around to it. I finally decided to sit down and I watched Madam Web. Don't get me wrong, it's not the worst movie I've ever seen, but like the movie like tried its hardest to become the worst movie I've ever seen. It is like it's impressive how many things they can do wrong in this movie. Like it's almost like they were trying, like they were legitimately trying to make a bad movie. It was unbelievable. I don't usually like fall asleep during movies, but for this I fell asleep towards the end. I'm not even afraid to admit it. Towards the final battle scene, like I legitimately fell asleep and I woke up and like the battle was like about over and like I didn't even bother trying to rewind it to see what I missed, because by that point I was so done with this movie. It is so unbelievably bad. Like it's impressive. It's genuinely impressive. But I don't want to keep talking about this. Let's just whatever you do, just don't watch this movie. Just take everyone's word from it and just believe everyone. It is a terrible movie. And then I watched The Wailing, which is a South Korean horror movie, which is like it's a very long movie. Like it's 2.5 hours long, but like there it is. I don't really think that it's like the perfect like this type of movie needed to be 2.5 hours long, because there were so many like wild and crazy twists and turns, and it's honestly something like I don't want to describe it too much because it's so much better going and knowing nothing. Just know that like it's this supernatural horror movie, and like if you go in knowing just that, then you will have a good time. And then I watched To Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, and that was such a that was a movie that I never thought I'd ever see. It was a really good movie. Like it was like a genuinely wholesome film. Like there was a really deep layer of humanity to this movie that like I wasn't really fully expecting. Like I was going in thinking that like it's a comedy, like oh, Patrick Swayze is dressed up as a woman. Like I honestly that's what I thought the movie was gonna be, but like it got like so like such a genuinely great movie towards the end. Like I really loved it. Maybe it did start to lose a little bit of steam around the third act. Like I was kind of like, okay, I get like I'm ready for this movie to wrap up, but like outside of that, like it wasn't like a great movie, but like I really had fun watching it. Like I definitely recommend watching it. And then I watched Jackass number 2. So a while ago I watched the first Jackass movie, and that was an experience. And I really think there are things in this movie that like I can't unsee. Like it's permanently engraved into my brain, and I hate knowing that I've seen some of the stuff that happens. I don't even think I can talk about a lot of it on YouTube, because like it's so unbelievable that these people actually did what they did. One of these days I want to make a video. I legitimately think the Jackass movies could be considered horror films, because I don't want to go too deep into it now. I want to talk about it during that video whenever I end up making it. But like, oh my god, the stuff that happens, it legitimately scarred me. Like there was a moment in that movie like I had to pause it, take a break from it, because like I didn't know how much more longer I could take it. So I had to just have a little breather moment and then continue it. Which like the last time I remember ever having to do that was for Martyrs. So that'll tell you something. And then I went from a fake horror movie to an actual horror movie, Possessor. So this is made by Brandon Cronenberg, and if in case you don't know who he is, he's the son of David Cronenberg, who's like this like master at body horror, which sounds exactly like what you think of it. It's like super violent movies that like it's less about having jump scares, and it's more about having just like really visceral things happening to people. But also the thing about David Cronenberg was like all of his movies had like deeper layers behind just being gore fest. Like they were actually like there was legitimate story, themes, everything to his movies. And you can see a lot of that in Brandon Cronenberg because like there's really something there. There's really close to having something like really great. It's just I can also tell this is the second movie he's ever made. And it really does feel like it. Like I feel like he's so close from reaching greatness, but like there's just something he's missing there. But I have no doubt that he will end up being just as good as a filmmaker as his dad. But I think for now, like it was a fine movie. Like it really it was a great concept. Don't get me wrong. The whole movie is about these people. So like they have this person who assassinates people, but by doing it, she basically invades the person's brain, and so she controls them, and that's how she gets all her targets. It's a really interesting horror movie. It's something that like I just don't think was fully fleshed out to what the concept was capable of, but I mean, that's also just me. Like, I'm sure if you watch it, I'm sure there'll be great things you'll find from it. But for me, it was just an alright movie. And then I watched Mad Max, the original Mad Max, which I was not prepared for how much I was going to hate this movie. The villains were so terrible. Like, I legitimately got so bored watching the biker gang going around that, like, I was just waiting for it just pass on to another scene. And then the whole movie, so it's really weird, the ending of the movie is really where it should have began. Like it felt like we were watching a prequel to Mad Max, not like the first Mad Max movie. And so just watching it, like I got so tired of seeing it. Like the movie really could have been an amazing thing about Max like going out for revenge against the biker gang, of like chasing them down one by one, eventually finding the leader. Like how fun of a movie would have that been? But instead it was incomplete. It felt like an incomplete movie. Like it just didn't seem like there was enough to it to really make me care at all by the characters. But I don't know. I mean, eventually the franchise did become pretty good, so I guess I can't really complain. Like, I'm glad that people enjoy it, like, and especially back then enjoyed it enough to spawn a whole franchise. Because otherwise, if this was all it was, like, it would have just been such a bland post-apocalypse movie. Not even post-apocalypse. Like, it's just it was really nothing. Like I felt I got nothing out of it. And then I watched Story Time by Dylan Clark, which is a short film, so I doubt anyone has ever heard of it. But I've been following Dylan Clark for a while. He's the student filmmaker who made, it's another movie, Portrait of God, a really great horror short. And so he did this movie, Story Time, which is like, I won't say too much about it because again, it's another movie, short that is best when you don't really know what's going on. But I really suggest watching him. Like, go subscribe to his channel, because he does really great horror shorts. And I'm really excited to see what he does next, because, like, he's really, like, slowly becoming an inspiration. Like, I don't know if he doesn't know who I am, and probably never will know about my channel. But if there is any way, Dylan, I'm talking to you, like, legitimate, like you inspired me so much with all the stuff that you've done that like inspired a lot of my writing and everything. And like I just want you to know that, like, again, I don't know if he's ever going to actually see this video or anything, but I just want you to know that like you make really great short films. And for everyone else who's watching this, please go watch this short because it's such a good short. And then I watched Furiosa, which I did a review about that. I mean, you can watch it now. I'll put a link to the video. But now that I've had a week to think about it, I've honestly loved it even more than when I initially watched it. Actually, I'd bump it up from 3.5 to 4 stars. Because I think I know I went into the mindset of knowing that it's not Fury Road. It was never going to be Fury Road. But, like, even after leaving, like, man, I wish it was Fury Road. But now that I've had time to think about it, it's not Fury Road, and I really do love that. Like, I really love that it's its own little thing. Like, it's not meant to be, like, this grand action movie. Like, it's meant to just be, like, just the origin story. It's more about the plot, like, because Fury Road, I mean, it's pretty light on the plot, which was for the best. But with this, like, it was really just, like, really focusing more on the plot and characters. especially Chris Hemsworth as Dementus. I really do think that's one of the most fun roles I've ever seen any actor play. I really loved watching every second he was on screen, and I really think like the more I think about it, the more I'm starting to fall in love with the movie. So yeah, it's still playing in theaters. I mean, it's not doing great at the box office, so please, like, if you can just find any way to support this movie, please go out to see it, because it's such a good movie. And then I watched two South Park shorts. I watched The End of Obesity, and then I watched Not Suitable for Children. Because I didn't even realize, I completely forgot about Not Suitable for Children. And so I'll just put both of these reviews together. Because, like, they're both short South Park episodes. Like, they're little episodes, but, like, they're little specials. But you know what? I didn't care much for Not Suitable for Children. Like, I really thought it was just, like, bland South Park. There wasn't really anything to it, but like End of Obesity, like I actually had a really fun time with it. There was a car chase scene where like it's like at the end of the movie, it's like all the characters and all the plot lines are basically coming together and like all fighting all at once. And like that, it was so fun watching it because like it was just like seeing like these absurd things. That's what I love about South Park is there'd be episodes that are just so insanely absurd that like you can't believe this is actually happening. But I mean, if you love South Park, go watch these if you haven't already, because they really are great. Like even though Not Suitable for Children wasn't really my thing, like I'm sure a lot of people will love it. So I definitely recommend watching both of these shorts. And then I watched the short film I Live in Your House, which is this so if you watch Smosh, like I've been watching Smosh for years, like I follow these, but like there's two people from Smosh who are in this short film, and that's the only reason I've ever heard about it. And it definitely, there is some like good moments. There's a little monologue that a character has that's like, it was really well done, but outside of that, it was just kind of a meh short film. And then the ending kind of, they didn't really land the ending. It didn't really stick. Like, it was just kind of a, okay. Like, I still, at the end of the day, I enjoyed it, but, like, it wasn't anything special that, like, I was really loving. Then I watched Observe and Report, which is basically Paul Blart for adults. But, you know, like, it really is for adults, because, like, that movie was so insanely dark at times. Like, there were some, like, really dark moments that, like, I was not prepared for. Like, I knew it was a dark comedy, but, like, it was a really fun movie. I had a lot of fun watching it. It wasn't anything great. Like, I've seen much better comedies, but I've also seen a lot worse comedies. And it was a fun movie. Like, there wasn't really anything to it. Like, I get there are deeper messages behind the movie, and like it kind of stuck. Like, I get where people are coming from a lot of that stuff, but like it didn't really seem like it was that insanely profound as like what it could have been. But I think it was a good movie nonetheless. Like, I had a fun time watching it. So if you like those kinds of movies, like I definitely recommend watching it. And then I saw Strangers Chapter 1, which again I also did a review on. So I won't talk about too much, but like I said in my review, it's so incomplete, and it's such a stereotypical, like I've seen this type of movie done 1,000 times before and much better. So like, again, that's all I'll really say about it. Go watch my review if you want to see more of my thoughts about it, but like that's really what I thought of it. Like, it was nothing special. And then I watched The Crush, which I really don't think I can do justice to like describe what this movie is about. So I'll just read off one of the top reviews on it. The Crush. Did you mean Lolita on crack cocaine? And that's really what it is. It's Lolita on crack cocaine, because like it's this like really great thriller that's like it gets really weird at times, especially at the beginning where like they were playing a little bit too much, and this girl like having the hots for him and like doing seductive things for him. And it's like I wouldn't say I got uncomfortable with watching it, but like I was kind of like, okay, we get the point. Like, you don't have to put the camera right there. And so But I think it was a great movie, especially towards the end when like it really started to become like a game of cat and mouse between these characters. Like I really had a fun time watching it. Like, and this is a movie like I'd really be interested in what a sequel would look like. Like we're never gonna get a sequel to The Crush, but like what would that movie look like? And it's a movie like if it was announced tomorrow they were making a sequel, I would not. I would actually be pretty happy about it. And but yeah, that's basically the movie. Like I recommend it if you like these kinds of thrillers. And then I watched Poor Things by Yorgos Lanthimos. Lanthimos? I'll put the name up screen. I really don't know how to pronounce his name, but like he's a really good filmmaker. I did a video kind of talking about the trailer to Kinds of Kindness, and I talked about like how much I love his style of filmmaking. And this was really like he didn't go fully into his style like he did for like say like The Lobster or The Favorite, but I really think that it was a really like interesting look into this character because like I'm really happy. I watching the movie, it just makes me laugh seeing all the stories about people watching this with their parents, and then when I get around to watching it, I can't imagine how awkward that must have been. But like watching Bella grow up, like in the matter of like I don't know how when the movie takes place, like weeks, a month, something like that. But like watching her like slowly grow as a person, it was a really great time. Like I really loved this, and then also like seeing like the guys are like around her, like try to take advantage of her, and like her like slowly leaning into it, and then like learning like how the real world actually works. Like it's a good movie. I definitely recommend if you watch it. It's on Hulu, and I really suggest going to see it if you can, because it was such a great movie. Then I watched 127 Hours, which, see, it was a good movie, but the thing is, I've seen it didn't do anything to me. It never affected me and like got me like so emotionally invested that I've seen from other survival thrillers like this. Like I just think like it was a good movie, but like that's really where it ends. Like there was really nothing insanely good about it that like really got me to love the movie anymore. Of just thinking it was an alright thriller. Like there's definitely some good moments. Like there's there was like a Scooby Doo jump scare in this movie, which I know makes no sense at all. But like when you see the movie, like it's so well done. But like outside of that, like I've seen better thrillers. Like I mean, if you like those kinds of movies, I tell you to watch it. But like just from what I saw, like it was all right. And then next I watched CSA, the Confederate States of America. And it's this mockumentary basically about like what if the South won the Civil War. And it's a really interesting film. The guy who made it, he wrote Black Klansman. He's done some other stuff with Spike Lee, but he really did like an interesting look at like what the world would look like if the Confederates won the Civil War. And it's like seeing like how like the perspective changes, because I mean in the real world, like the North is usually portrayed as the good guys, and then like since they won the war, the South is portrayed as the good guy. They even change it, like during the movie it's referred to as the War of Northern Aggression. And so it's this really interesting mockumentary of like looking at like what the world would look like if the Confederates won the Civil War. And it's a really good movie. Like I really had like a lot of good time watching it. It's really funny too. Like there's some seriously funny moments in this film, but there's also some like moments where it's like really bleak. Like it's really gets like really dark at times and makes me kind of question like should I have been laughing earlier at the stuff. But like it's a really good film. Like I highly suggest trying to find any way to watch it, cuz it's a good movie. And then I ended the movie with In a Violent Nature, which I just did a review about that. So a lot of my thoughts I already said on that. But like I said in the review, like it is a really great movie. It's like this experimental like reverse slasher. And it really kind of does like, I guess like it makes you like challenges you to like kind of look at slasher movies in a different lens. and it was a really great. I think it did a good job. There was definitely moments where it could improve, but also this is the guy. I think this is the guy's directorial debut. Chris Nash, his name is, and so like there's definitely things that he could have improved on it, but I think for especially for a directorial debut, it was a good movie. Like I really had a great time watching it. But yeah, that'll do it for this video. That's everything I've watched. I mean, if you want, like, what movies have you watched? Like any big movies that you watch that you really like? Tell me what you think. Like comment down below, like what you think of the movies. If you agree, disagree with me, and then if you want, like and subscribe and turn on the notifications, because I'm going to be trying to upload daily. Like I'm going to be getting a lot of videos out, and I want to do more stuff like this. Like I really, because I do have a fun time making these videos, and so yeah, that's my channel. I mean, if you want, go check out my other videos. I guess until next time, it's Movie Talk. See ya.